Hello and welcome back to my channel. On today's episode of We Need to Get Rid of the Filibuster, well, kinda, sorta. There are two options here. And so the way the filibuster is currently working, you need 60 votes to get anything through the thing, and they could just simply vote and be done. Just walk away. But that's not how it used to work. It used to be if you wanted to filibuster something, you had to stand on the floor for hours. And there's a video out there of people standing on the Senate floor for hours doing things like reading Dr. Seuss books. There's an episode of Ted Cruz doing that. And then there's also people reading out of the dictionary, doing speeches, and it's supposed to promote a healthy debate, which I actually support. I like the filibuster, and if you're going to do it that way, you have to stand on the floor, not just simply and walk away. I'm okay with that version of the filibuster, but the way it works now, not okay with. And the way the filibuster is being used now is Mitch McConnell's own design. Mitch McConnell set it up that way so that his people didn't have to vote and talk about bills that could possibly hurt them with their constituents. And I don't know why Democrats went along with it. It is a terrible idea. The problem is we have people like Joe Manchin and a couple other Democrats, but we're going to focus on Joe Manchin, who seem to think that this will encourage bipartisanship. We all know it's not going to encourage bipartisanship. So we either need to go back to the filibuster being, if you want to try and filibuster, you have to stay on the Senate floor and talk for hours to be able to filibuster. Or we need to get rid of the filibuster completely, because it is being used to completely stall out the Senate. That's why no legislation is being done, and why we're seeing more and more executive orders being done by the president, because Congress is fundamentally broken because of this filibuster. So we need to put pressure on Joe Manchin to either put the filibuster back to the way it was or completely vote it out to where a simple majority controls the laws that are passed through the Senate. Because this few speaking for the many is breaking our system, and nothing is getting done either way. Go look at when Mitch McConnell had control of the Senate. It had the least amount of bills passed that I've seen in my lifetime. Literally the least amount of bills were brought to the floor and passed under Mitch McConnell. Which means that Congress wasn't passing laws, wasn't doing its job. They're literally just sitting there. We're paying them to sit there and be idle. So we desperately either need to go back to the way the filibuster was, where you have to stand on the Senate floor for hours. And I know nobody wants to be stuck like they were when they had to read the whole COVID relief bill, because that's actually how the filibuster used to work. Like the COVID relief bill thing, where you had to stand there for hours and you had to be in the room instead of the garbage that we have now, because Congress is broken and we need to fix it if we expect any laws in this country to pass. If we don't want a president ruling by strictly executive order, the filibuster as it is right now has to go. And remember all those orders that Donald Trump enacted? It's not a good thing. Executive orders can be undone. They are not a permanent thing. We need Congress. That's the way our government was designed to work. And when it doesn't work, we end up with the nightmare that we currently have going on right now. So the filibuster has to go. If you are in West Virginia, I beg of you to call Manchin and tell him you want the filibuster to go and the minimum wage to rise, because he's also the one that seems to think that people can live off of $11 an hour. I hate Manchin so much. Yeah, the filibuster needs to go as we have it now. I don't mind the filibuster where you have to stand on the floor. It was never in the Constitution either way. The filibusters are rules voted in by the majority, whoever controls power. It needs to go. It needs to be fixed, and we need Congress to go back to making laws. Because without it, we have the mess we have now. And it's not very good. And it's not helping the American people. It's a freaking laughing stock. And the few are outweighing the majority of Americans. It needs to stop.